In this activity, we are working with the volunteers Usizo 5_4 access database, and we are going to be working with the volunteer data table. So I'll right click and go to design view. We are going to make a couple of changes to the design of this table. Our first task is to create a selection list of valid values for the field school by using a lookup wizard. So I will come to the school field and change this data type to a lookup wizard, and then we will follow the steps. The selection list of the values we want to enter, we will type in. So I will select the second option and click next. I will now enter in the school's names that we want to be in our selection list. Those are the 4 values that we want in our selection list. I will click next. We still want it to be called the school field. So then I'll click finish. And now we will save our changes and go view that data under datasheet view. We can see under school, there's a list of options that we can select from now. Let's go back to design view. For our next task, we want to ensure that when the user adds a new record, that the value reptiles will automatically appear in the interest field. So I will come over here to interest, and we want it to automatically appear when they enter in a new record. In other words, we want the default value to be reptiles. So I will enter in reptiles as my default value for the interest field. If we save our changes and go to datasheet view, if we go and insert a new record, you can see reptiles is automatically set as the interest, which we can still change, but this is just the default value at the start. I will go back to design view. My next task is to ensure that the first name field meets the following requirements. So I will come here to the first name field. We want to ensure that the first letter is always a capital letter and all the remaining letters must be lowercase. We want to make sure that any value entered in the field must be at least 2 characters long, and we must take note of the maximum number of characters that can be entered by looking at the field size. We can see that the field size is 15, and we want to modify the input mask so that it meets those criteria. So let's start with the criteria that there must be at least 2 characters entered in. So if I come here to first name and I come here to input mask, we definitely want at least 2 characters. And because this is a first name, it will be letters. So they are compulsory letters. If you remember the codes that you have learned, you can see that L is a compulsory letter, and we want at least 2 compulsory letters. Then the rest of the name can contain letters that are optional, which is our question mark code. And because the field size is 15 and the first 2 characters are compulsory, that means there is a possibility of 13 optional characters. So I will put in 13 question marks. In that way, they can enter in any name as long as there are at least 2 characters that are compulsory. Now, we also want to ensure that the first character is a capital letter. In other words, in front of the first L, we will put a greater than symbol because that indicates for capital letters. And then the rest of the text, so after the L, we will put a smaller than symbol to indicate that the rest is all small letters, all lowercase letters. And that is our input mask. If we save our changes and go to datasheet view, if I want to change first name, for example, to just 1 letter, it will not allow me as I need at least 2 characters. So if I put in another character, it'll always be a small letter. And if I click away, that is accepted. However, I can add other characters as well, and they are all going to be small letters. I'll press escape to undo those changes and go back to design view. And for our final change, we want to set the validation rule on shifts so that a user can only enter in a value of 1, 2, 3, or 4. So as we can see over here, shifts is a number field. We will come here to a validation rule. We could either do it 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. That'll be correct. We could also do it as greater than equal to 1 and less than equal to 4. Both of those options are correct. Those are the valid options that we want. And if we violate those options, we will then have text that will appear, and it should be a suitable message to inform the user how to correct the mistake. So if we save our changes and then go to datasheet view. If we change shifts to another number like 2, that is acceptable. But if we change it to a number like 5, then our error message will appear and we can make a suitable correction. And that is the end of our activity.